Welcome to my channel, World History Explored. Did you know that Serbia was once at the heart of a mighty empire in the 14th century? Its journey to independence has been anything but simple, marked by centuries of wars, political upheavals, and resilience. From ancient Roman times to the struggles of modern conflicts, Serbia's history has left a lasting mark on the Balkans and beyond. Even today, one of the most pressing issues is the Kosovo conflict, a story of division and determination that continues to shape Serbia's path. Keep watching, because we'll explore how Serbia is still navigating its complex past while building its future. The history of Serbia has witnessed several changes before the country developed into the modern nation it is currently. The family process started in the 6th to 7th centuries, when the Slavs started moving into the Balkans and assimilated with the Romans. In the course of time, Serbia became a kingdom in the 8th century, and by the early 11th century, it was a grand principality. The Kingdom of Serbia was established during the 13th century, and the formation of a Serbian church provided more recognition, and finally, the country formed its own unique identity. During the mid-14th century, under the rule of Stefan Dusan, Serbia emerged as a leading empire in the Balkans. But this period was dashing, and it did not last long, for in 1540, the Ottoman Empire took over Serbia. This changed in the 1800s, when Serbia began to rebel against the Ottomans and finally became independent. After the First World War, the Serbians united with other South Slavic people to form the Kingdom of the Serbs, Croats, and Slovenes, later to be called Yugoslavia. During World War II, the country was led by Josip Tito, a marshal and major participant in the fight against the Axis. I think that after Tito died in 1980, some troubles came to Yugoslavia, and some persons like Slobodan Milosevic came to leadership. The country saw politically induced violence in the 1990s as different factions vied for power, and liberation against Belgrade, Kosovo, and Bosnia and Herzegovina were some of the factions that fought against. All these tensions resulted in Yugoslavia's dissolution, and the Kingdom of Serbia preserved a highly developed tradition that can be traced back through the prehistoric era and the ancient world. However, after the Roman Empire had conquered Serbia in the late 2nd century BC, it became a province of the Roman Empire. By 75 BC, the Romans created the province of Moesia, and through the centuries, the Romans managed several important cities in today's Serbia, such as Sirmium or Sirmium, today Sremska Mitrovica, Belgrade, and Niš. The area has remained multicultural and multiracial to today, from the Roman Empire that ruled over it for some time. When the Roman Empire crumbled, a lot of Slavic tribes started moving into the Balkans and intermingled with the locals. During the Middle Ages, the Serbs created their own kingdoms, and even an empire. The most important period was around the beginning of the 14th century and the rule of Stefan Dusan. However, with the Battle of Kosovo in 1389, Serbia started steadily losing strength, and the presence of the Ottoman Empire did not help either. Although some territories of Serbia remained independent in the 15th century, all territories of Serbia, including Belgrade, were occupied by the Ottoman Empire in 1459. The 20th century for Serbia was characterized by more dramatic changes than previous centuries. After World War I was over, a new kingdom, known as the Kingdom of the Serbs, Croats, and Slovenes, was formed, later referred to as Yugoslavia. First of all, this new country was united by the command of Marshal Josip Tito after World War II. The underlying diverse ethnic populations of Yugoslavia were successfully kept in check and congenial by Tito, and again, tensions grew as soon as he passed away in the year 1980. In the Balkans War, especially the Bosnian and Herzegovian and Kosovan wars, devastation and suffering were evident. Since the war was the primary cause that led to the breakup of Yugoslavia, the period was up to the time Serbia had to declare its autonomy in 2006. Serbia boasts of imperial greats, ethnic influence, and political turbulence in its past and present. From prehistory to modernity, when it became an independent state, the history of the people who lived there reflects their tenacity and the course of the country. Today, Serbia, like any other country in the world, has been overcoming historical problems in search of improvement and stability. Over the last several decades, Serbia has been throbbing through transitions and numerous challenges. The Kingdom of Serbia and the leading spirits in the country vied with one another to effect the modernization of the Serbian kingdom. But, of course, there was a major shift in the 20th century. Following the First World War, the major Slavic people formed a country called Yugoslavia, though Serbia was a part of it. Some of the most important political leaders included Marshal Josip Tito, who played a crucial role in the uniting of Yugoslavia after the Second World War. But after Tito's death in the 1980s, some conflicts appeared, and some such leaders like Slobodan Milosevic came to power. Due to his policy toward other nations within former Yugoslavia, such as Serbia, Montenegro, and Kosovo, Milosevic was the mastermind behind the dissolution of former Yugoslavia in the early 1990s. The conflicts in places like Kosovo, Bosnia, and Herzegovina as a result of ethnic cleansing. These wars provoked a lot of victims and losses on both sides. Serbia has become an independent country today, but it's a part of the former Yugoslavia, and it experienced hardships in that country. In December 1918, after the First World War, different nations in the region united and formed the Kingdom of Serbs, Croats, and Slovenes, which later became Yugoslavia. However, not everyone started supporting this new country. Most countries agreed that such freedom was okay, but the leaders of Croatia were against it. Carlos eventually died in 1922, and in 1929, King Alexander I seized power, attempting to integrate the area by dissolving all the political parties. But then, after some time, he was killed by his bodyguard. Before the war started, Yugoslavia was threatened with invasion by Nazi Germany, and when they did take over, the country was split between the Axis forces. After the war, the territory of Yugoslavia became a socialist country of Marshal Josip Broz Tito, who sought to maintain the unity of the state. Tito was very famous for maintaining order among many ethnic groups within the Yugoslavian region. However, once he died in 1980, everything changed. In the 1990s, Slobodan Milosevic came to power, and he put into action policies that ignited war in Yugoslavia, particularly in Kosovo and Bosnia. The wars brought a lot of pain, and the ethnic strife persisted for several more years. Following Tito's death, Yugoslavia began to unravel, and tensions quickly escalated. As the country fractured, leaders like Milosevic pushed for control, leading to violent conflicts and the eventual breakup of Yugoslavia. Yugoslavia consisted of 6 republics that were part of former Yugoslavia and were headed by Marshal Josip Tito after the Second World War. Tito tried to adhesive the various ethnical groups jointly under the frivolity of brotherhood and unity. Yet, when Tito died in 1980, the changes began. The country was no longer united, and the bloc was taking control over it, and some leaders like Slobodan Milosevic, who became the president of Serbia. Milosevic came to power by pledging to defend Serbs in places such as Kosovo, which resulted in protests and confrontations. His speech in 1989, forgetting about Serbia, resulted in many people fearing that war was imminent. Shortly after this, more areas seceded, including Slovenia and Croatia, and there was war, especially in Bosnia and Herzegovina. It got worse, with many persons meeting their fate from the fight. There was a lot of bloodshed. Kosovo, which was almost wholly Albanian, also demanded far more autonomy, and so the tensions persisted. Map 4. These areas attempted to be dominated by Milosevic's government. However, NATO would bomb Yugoslavia in 1999 to avoid the suffering. These, in turn, culminated in the secession of the country of former Yugoslavia and the formation of several countries. After the breakup of Tito's death, conflict was beginning to grow in Yugoslavia, where violence and war became evident under Milosevic's rule. Nevertheless, Serbia started the process of transformation gradually, and after so many years of war and political unrest, the country focused on changes and joining the EU. Yugoslavia had a powerful and robust leader, Marshal Josip Tito, who managed to bring different ethnic groups together. After Tito's death, the country began to disintegrate, and in the 20th century, Slobodan Milošević ruled Serbia. It worsened through force over other regions, such as Kosovo and Bosnia, resulting in uncomfortable wars. The country that was once known as Yugoslavia broke into many parts after the war. Montenegro declared its independence in 2006, and after that, Serbia also left the United Federation of Serbia and Montenegro. In the next several years, Serbia has gone through many transformations. Some leaders like Boris Tadić and Aleksandar Vučić wanted to get Serbia into Europe. But did you know there have been some hiccups, especially regarding Kosovo? They want independence in 2008. Since then, Serbia has been experiencing political dilemmas, with politicians such as Mr. Vučić striving to maintain harmony with the European states and the other states in the world, including Russia and China. The country has witnessed demonstrations and discourses on how to become a stable nation, but still, the country has not found a balance between its past wars and future ambitions. Kosovo was transformed into Serbia's other issue when it needed membership in the European Union. While Serbia was trying to turn to EU objectives, the question of Kosovo was an integration conflicting point. But if slow, there was some movement. The conflict arose when most of the population in Kosovo, comprised of ethnic Albanians, seceded from Serbia on 17 February 2008. They received this move with different views from the global community, with some nations endorsing Kosovo's independence, while others, like Serbia, refused to accept the move. However, in 2013, both parties agreed to bury the hatchet and normalize relations. And the process was negatived in 2018 when Kosovo increased a tax on Serbian products. Kosovo did away with the tax in 2020. Serbia, in the meantime, was concerned with the desire to join the European Union, EU. Serbia officially submitted the application in 2009 to become a member. Despite the fact that the political climate in the region took work, Serbia achieved something. The EU granted Serbian citizens the right to visa-free travel in December 2009. And in the subsequent years, relations between Serbia and the EU were enforced by the signing of an agreement on the renewal of favorable trade relations, which began in 2013. Serbia's accession remains on track to becoming a member of the EU, but issues like Kosovo's case still need to be resolved. Serbia's journey has been filled with challenges, from ancient struggles to modern political tensions, particularly the Kosovo dispute. Despite these hurdles, Serbia continues to work towards a better future, aiming for full EU membership. What do you think lies ahead for Serbia's relationship with Kosovo? Will Serbia's EU dreams come true? If you found this story insightful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments.